Good afternoon and greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for today's Data Summit topic, Census Bureau Data for Everyone, Why It Should Matter to You. We're delighted to have you with us today in what is the kickoff of the U.S. Census Bureau's 2021 Data Summit Series. My name is Lynette Swopes, and I am your host for today. But before I go into the agenda, I'd like to cover some basic information and house rules. This session is being recorded. This session will be recorded for the benefit of attendees and other stakeholders who are unable to be present. For those who do not wish to be recorded, please take this time to opt out and drop from this session. Because of the number of participants on this webinar, everyone has been muted. We encourage everyone to utilize the chat. We will not be able to answer all questions due to the volume of participants. Any general questions that are not answered, please contact ask.census.gov. For any other inquiries regarding apportionment or redistricting, please reach out to pio@census.gov. For your convenience and future reference, please expect a PDF of this presentation and a link for today's presentation in 48 hours. Again, this webinar is being recorded. What is the objective of the Data Summit? Designed for the novice data user, this series will present a high-level overview of several data products and demonstrate how they can be used to assist organizations and businesses identify data-driven solutions to challenges. Learn about how your responses to Census Bureau surveys are used to create publicly available data products. At the conclusion of this session, you will have an increased awareness of the vast data products available through the U.S. Census Bureau, be better equipped to utilize some of the free online tools available on census.gov, and have resources and toolkits to assist with navigating data available through census.gov. We offered these summits to thank our many committed 2020 census partners by showing them that the value of partnership extends beyond the decennial count. Census Bureau data can help organizations make data-driven decisions. Today's summit is one example of how the Census Bureau also offers support to help you with assessing and understanding these data. Our agenda includes some opening remarks from our Chief of Field Division, Ms. Dale Kelly, followed by San Antonio, Texas Mayor Ron Nierenberg. I will then introduce Dr. Seema Iyer, the Associate Director of the Baltimore Neighborhood Indicators Alliance. Following Dr. Iyer will be our key presenters, Maria Garcia and David Craker, who are both data dissemination specialists from the New York region. After our key presenters, there will be a Q&A moderated by Ms. Nakia Cooper, and I will conduct the wrap-up. Before I turn it over to Ms. Kelly to present her opening remarks, I'd like to provide a high-level update on the 2020 census. The information that I present today has already been publicly announced. We will not answer any questions regarding apportionment or redistricting. Any questions regarding those topics should be referred to pio@census.gov. The Census Bureau has been working diligently to process responses and assess quality as we work towards releasing the first results from the 2020 census. The U.S. Census Bureau has been working diligently. As you know, every 10 years, the Census Bureau takes account of every living person living in the United States as required by the Constitution. Our goal is to count everyone once, only once, and in the right place. The national head count is used to divide the 435 memberships or seats in the U.S. House of Representatives among the 50 states based on the state population counts from the census. Our current schedule points to releasing these apportionment counts by April the 30th. These first results from the 2020 census will include 3 tables of population counts for the nation in each of the 50 states. The first table are the apportionment population counts. These are the counts used for apportionment. They include the resident population for each of the 50 states plus each state's overseas population count. The second table are the resident population counts. These counts include all people who were living in the United States as of April 1st, 2020. And lastly, the overseas population counts. These include each state's overseas population count. The overseas counts are only used for apportionment. They include military and civilian employees of the U.S. government and their dependents living with them overseas who were stationed or assigned outside the 50 states and the District of Columbia on April 1st, 2020. These individuals could be allocated to a home state based on administrative records from the employing federal agencies. We will also publish resident population counts for the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico. However, their populations are not included in the apportionment population because they do not have voting seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. For more information on apportionment, including links to our latest updates and informational material, visit the Apportionment Press Kit at the link listed on this slide. As a friendly reminder, this webinar is being recorded, and to expect a PDF of this presentation and a link for today's webinar in 48 hours. After the census, shifts in population and congressional representation among the states require the redrawing of district boundaries within states. The U.S. Census Bureau provides states with local area population counts that they need to redraw or redistrict their congressional and other legislative boundaries. Our current schedules point to delivering these data to the states and the public by September 30th, 2021. For more information on redistricting, including links to geographic support products such as maps, tables, and files, visit the Redistricting Press Kit at the link listed on this slide. Ladies and gentlemen, every organization has a fearless leader. Here at the Census Bureau, we are lucky to have more than a few. Ms. Dale Kelly, the Chief of Field Division for the U.S. Census Bureau, is one of them, always motivating the team and always supporting the community. That is why she is here today, to share words of encouragement and introduce what we have in store for you. I am honored to introduce Ms. Dale Kelly. Dale? Dale, we are not able to hear you. You may need to unmute your phone, *6.
Okay, I think you can hear me now.
Good deal.
So, as I was saying, Lynette, thank you so much for that introduction, and welcome and hello, everyone. I'm excited that you are joining us for the kickoff of our 2021 Data Summit Series. And I bring you greetings from our Acting Director, Ron Jarman. Census Bureau Data for Everyone. That's the title of today's presentation and a guiding principle here at the Census Bureau. Our goal is to convey to you the connection between the survey work we do and the data we release. We'll share with you how an increased knowledge of our data and its utilization can help inform and transform the communities that you serve. So completing a decennial census is a monumental task. I'm not sure where I got cut off or what you heard, but let me just say that I certainly thank you all for your support of the 2020 census. I know that many of you on this WebEx today are our committed partners because you've helped us to mobilize your community to respond, and that's because you understand the value of the data to your community's future. And we owe you an enormous debt of gratitude. And we encourage you to continue to stay engaged because there's so much more. And though significant, the decennial is not all that we do. The Census Bureau conducts more than 130 monthly, quarterly, annual, and periodic surveys, as well as the 5-year economic census and census of government. That's a plethora of data. And when we perform our survey and census work, we are committed to protecting respondents' privacy and are sworn by law to keep information confidential. Every single person who works for the Census Bureau knows those laws by heart. We do not publish individual names or specific details about people or businesses that's considered personally identifiable information. However, the data that are produced from survey and census participation help inform the decisions you make about starting or growing your business, identifying where to build your next school or hospital, transportation infrastructure in your neighborhoods. Census Bureau data reflect your community. Our statistics capture how social and economic changes impact communities, and it's a source for determining needs, making plans, and setting goals. So learning how to access these data can help you shape relevant solutions to some of your current challenges. We will continue to produce quality data that will equip our users with important information in which to make data-driven decisions. And our goal here today is to show you that the work we do it on your behalf. Our mission is to make our data accessible and relevant to everyone. And at the conclusion of this data summit, you will have the opportunity to provide feedback. And we welcome that opportunity. We want to hear from you. We want to learn from you. And we want to make sure that we're doing our best to meet your needs. So again, and I hope you enjoy Census Bureau Data for Everyone. Thank you, and back to you, Lynette.
Ready? Thank you, Ms. Kelly, for your words today. And our next opening remarks are from Dr. Seema Iyer, who is the director of the Jacob Francis Institute in the University of Baltimore's Merrick School of Business. Role in research, how data sharing has significant impact on our local and grassroots organizations. Dr. Iyer.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you today. This is exciting information for those of us that are steeped in census data all the time. So I want to introduce the project that I oversee at the University of Baltimore. Some of you might know what it is. I put a link to it in the chat. The Baltimore Neighborhood Indicators Alliance has been around for 20 years, and we are part of a national learning network called the National Neighborhood Indicators Partnership, which is hosted by the Urban Institute. And we were created specifically to integrate data that could be useful at the extremely small areas, extremely small local geographies like a neighborhood. And so our job is to try and integrate all kinds of local data. The Census Bureau's data sets are, of course, the lion's share of what we use to try and put back in the hands of neighborhoods and communities in the city of Baltimore. There's an amazing volume of data and data products from the Census Bureau, and what the work that we do at the Baltimore Neighborhood Indicators Alliance, and I'm sure all of you do as well or are embarking to do, is to take that national level data sets and localize it for your community so that it makes sense, so that it's usable for whatever context is going on in your local area. And I want to tell you 3 key ways that we do that is so important that makes us a great partner to the Census Bureau and all of you doing this in your own local area. The first one is, of course, to make some sense of census tracts. I don't know how many on this call know what census tract number they live in, but I actually don't, even though I look at census data all the time. And so putting a meaningful name associated with those census tracts is actually an activity that you can do locally that we've been doing for the past 20 years. And a neighborhood name actually changes over time, and we can actually see that right now in a city like Baltimore, where we are grappling with some systemic racist names that we have in our neighborhoods. So when those neighborhood names change, we've got to connect that to the census tract itself and produce information in ways that our local jurisdiction will actually understand. Nobody knows if I tell you that Census Tract 1001 has, a certain statistic, but if I tell you that that's Seton, part of downtown Baltimore, then it makes a little bit more sense. So putting names and meetings to the census tract is such an important task that requires local knowledge. The next step is obviously to do the calculation, right? Sometimes it just takes taking 2 fields of a particular table and doing a proportion across those 2 fields, but knowing what the table is, knowing what the data is going to show, knowing even how to do that calculation requires your expertise. And it requires continuous stewardship of doing that kind of work. So it may not seem like rocket science, but it's such important data to get simple statistics out to our neighborhoods, like how many people in your neighborhood have access to the internet. Taking the field that says the number of people that have access versus the total number of households gives you a percentage, and then you can start to compare your census tract with the other census tract, and then that to the city and that to the nation. And those simple calculations are so important. The expertise that you have to even make that kind of a calculation is so important. And the last step is, of course, the knowledge that you have to then disseminate that to your local jurisdiction. So you know who the people are in your community, you know the kind of information that they need, and teaching them, here's the table that I use if you're teaching students, for example, or if you're producing the data for a local audience, making sure that everybody has access to show how you did the calculation so that they can do it in the future. These may seem like extremely simple things from a national perspective, but at the local level, you all know that this is the hard work of collaborating together, making sure everybody has access to this information, understand what it means, and can use it for their own planning and advocacy purposes. And I hope today's webinar will empower and energize us all to keep doing that hard work on the local level. I appreciate the time to be here, and I look forward to the conversation today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Iyer, for your words. Mayor Ron Nierenberg from San Antonio, Texas, was scheduled to join us today, but due to an unforeseen circumstance, he was unable to be here, and he sends his apologies. I'm going to repeat what I just said. Mayor Ron Nierenberg from San Antonio, Texas, was scheduled to join us today, but due to an unforeseen circumstance, he was unable to be here, and he extends his apologies. And I thank you, Dr. Iyer, for your words today. Now, at this time, I would like to introduce our key presenters, Maria Garcia and David Krager. Maria Garcia has been with the U.S. Census Bureau for 22 years. She initially served as a partnership specialist in 1999, doing community outreach and engaging participation in the census. Currently, she is a data dissemination specialist. David Krager has worked at the Census Bureau for 23 years, first as a geographer in the New York office and currently as a data dissemination and GIS specialist. Introducing Ms. Maria Garcia and Mr. David Krager. And Maria, as a friendly reminder, please open up your chat.
Good day. I have opened up my chat. So great. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Certainly.
So I'm Ana Maria Garcia, and I'm going to start today's data summit, data for everyone. Let me tell you what you can expect. I will start with providing examples of the breadth and the depth of the data collected by the U.S. Census Bureau, in addition to all that rich data that you've heard mentioned about the decennial census. We'll then learn from my colleague David Kraker how to navigate the Bureau's expansive website, and we will end with a question and answer period. So let's get started. At the Census Bureau, we can actually move it to the next slide. Thank you. You can see here on this slide some objectives. We want you to learn about census surveys, learn about the breadth of the topics, share some links and resources with you, and then we're going to go on to navigate our website. And then I'll share with you some data nuggets and some sponsors and some links. But I want to should demonstrate the breadth of the data that we have. So at the Census Bureau, you can come and find the percentage of grandparents who are responsible for the care of their grandchildren. Some of you might know that, or have that kind of a situation in your life. Or you can actually come and find the number of ice cream manufacturing firms that exist in the United States. So you get to see there's a breadth of data there and of the end user. The end user can be, an agency looking to start a program for grandparents as caregivers, or an entrepreneur looking to establish an ice cream parlor in their state. So that's just an example of the type of data that you can see. But now let's ask some questions. And as you see this young woman on the screen, she's pondering, did you know that the average unemployment rate was 8.1% in 2020? The data was gathered by the Census Bureau? Yes, it was. It's actually gathered in the current population survey, which the Census Bureau co-sponsors with the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's the primary source of labor force statistics for the population of the United States. It is the Census Bureau that collects this data. And if you wish to visit our census website, which we're going to do later on in this presentation, we can take you to that site and then click on to the link that we have to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and see some of that data that's available to us. Did you know that in the year 2017, 2017 to 2018, 78% of public school teachers reported having an evaluation the prior year. And of those that reported, 73% indicated that evaluation contributed to their teaching methods. We collect that data, and it's called the Teacher Follow-Up Survey, and we conduct that for the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We conduct this for the National Center of Educational Statistics. And which is comprised of policyholders and educational leaders looking to the Teacher Follow-Up Survey to make decisions about K-12 schools. Decisions like, they want to know how to measure the attrition rate of teachers. They want to examine the characteristics of teachers that remain as teachers or teachers that change professions or actually retire. And they want to obtain a grasp of the reasons why teachers move to other schools or why they leave the profession. The next administration of the Teacher Follow-Up Survey is scheduled for the school year 2021-2022. Given the impact of the pandemic on our instructional delivery, I'm not sure that we'll be able to conduct that, but I am certain that that information will be included on our website. And so I'm going to encourage you to stay tuned. Did you know? Now, this is a staggering piece of information. I found staggering that the total losses, economic losses, as a result of identity theft, and many of us on this webinar can relate to identity theft. That total loss in 2018 was $15.1 billion. And I don't know if for anybody out here in this webinar, that's not a staggering number, but it was most definitely for me. And we gathered that data in the National Crime Victimization Survey, or NCVS, which we conduct for the Bureau of Justice Statistics. NCVS collects data on the types and amounts of crime involving people anywhere from age 12 and above. It is our primary source of information on the nature of criminal and victimization incidents. It collects both non-fatal personal crimes as well as household property crimes, whether they've been reported to the police or not. Did you know that in 2017 through 2018, 16% of the U.S. population, or 40.4 million people, provided unpaid elder care? Now, if you're a business owner out there, that's an interesting statistic that one can look at. And we gathered this information through the American Time Use Survey, ATUS as we know it in-house. And this survey actually measures the time that we spent on activities such as paid work, childcare, volunteering, and socializing. This survey says that time is a resource, just like money. And knowing how people spend their time helps them answer important questions. I am definitely going to encourage David, who's going to navigate through our website, to come to this survey, because it's a survey, I say, that has interesting information. So you're starting to get a sense of that we have data that touches upon different people, different aspects of our life, and that's what we wanted to share with you. But did you know? Well, on this point, we all know. We all know that about a year ago, or a little bit over a year ago, the United States was hit by a pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. In response to that pandemic, the U.S. Census Bureau set up some surveys. They developed the Small Business Pulse Survey, the Household Pulse Survey, and they also included something called the Community Resilience Estimates and several other surveys that actually can be found on the COVID-19 Hub. I refer to these because, to me, it speaks to the innovation and the ingenuity at the U.S. Census Bureau, always having its ear to the pulse of the population, of the economy, of households, and of many, many other aspects. We're always listening and paying attention. On this next slide, you will see a small sample of our sponsors. You've already heard of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which co-sponsors the current population survey with the Census Bureau, or the American Time Use Survey, which they sponsor. That teacher follow-up survey is as a result of sponsorship by the National Center for Educational Statistics. We also do a survey called the National Survey of College Graduates. That's sponsored by the National Science Foundation. And then that staggering number, that piece of data, $15.1 billion, is information gathered for the Bureau of Justice Statistics to the Crime Victimization Survey. Now, this is not a complete list of our sponsors. We can actually go to the website and you can see who they are, learn what surveys they're interested in. You heard that we do 130 surveys, and you can get more information about those particular surveys on our website. And now what I'd like to share with you are some links. And so that first link you see is census.gov. That's going to take you directly to the website that you're going to be seeing shortly. And then I wanted to definitely include data.census.gov. It is a repository of census data that where users can go and access data. I also wanted to provide you with the census publications. I think they're fascinating. They're papers that our staff do as a result of the data we collected and the impact that it has or comparison across our country. They really are interesting and tell you a bit about what we think inside of the Census Bureau, about the data that's been collected. I would be remiss in not giving you that American Time Use Survey. I'm definitely going to ask David to go there because it gives you quite a bit of data, which I believe you'll find quite interesting. And, of course, the interactive COVID-19 Data Hub. This is a hub that will give you relevant, timely data about the impacts that COVID-19 has had on our country. So whether you're a business, whether you're an individual person, whether you're a parent wondering about their students, we have data there that's available to every person within the United States. So I want to thank you profoundly for your interest in census data. And so now I'm going to turn to my colleague, David Kraker, who's going to take us through the website. And so I encourage all of you who are listening that while David is presenting and you think of questions, put them in the chat. We're going to be attempting to answer as many questions as possible during the question and answer period. So David, are you ready?
I'm ready, Anna Maria. Can you see the Census Bureau's website?
I sure can.
I sure can. Okay, and I just want to say somebody wrote into the chat were your links clickable. I don't think they were clickable. I don't think they're clickable yet. So just so that person knows. Okay, so I think we were going to go through this website and show a few things. And by the way, it's nice to be back with you. And I did want to say that we are recording this. And so if you're trying to follow along and I'm going a little bit too fast, don't worry. Everybody calm down. You're going to get the recording, and then you can look at that at your own pace. So, I do realize that sometimes I go a little bit fast. And so, Anna Maria, you tell me if I'm going too fast, and we'll slow them down, right? So you were showing some of the surveys, right? And this is our website, www.census.gov, right? And we're sort of looking at these tabs along the top. But the first one we do want to look at are these surveys and programs. And these are the surveys that we conduct, and many of them are actually for other parts of the federal government, right? And so, for example, this current population survey, which you talked about before, right? And when we come here, we have all sorts of information that we put here. And I always like the Census Bureau, will show you what the questionnaire looks like, and we will put up the methodology that we're using. And sometimes you put up data, but I actually find going over here to the left to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website and clicking on that kind of like a nice entrance way into this data on their website. And they are actually the keeper of that data, really. So now you had talked about something before. Was it, I forget, was it unemployment?
Right, so right there on the right, there's annual averages, and right underneath it is the unemployment rate. Right.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And I just click right here, and it brings us, as I recall, to
Yes.
this chart, right? And so it's sort of showing you what happened back in 2010, and then here's 2017, and then how the unemployment rate is going higher. But you had pointed out to me yesterday, or the day before maybe, that if we scroll down here on the left, right, we can actually see these numbers as they go up. That's right? Am I right? Yeah.
Yes. Right.
And we can see, I think this is the number, and then we can also see somehow we can see the percentage. I'm not really sure how to do that, but
yeah. But the point of pointing that particular section is that one can see historically what's occurring with the unemployment rate, and it's not a figure that we have readily available on our fingertips. We hear about it on the news, but this is a place that you can go and get the actual data that's been reported.
Yeah, and people know that they, if they can't remember all these places to go, they can actually access many of them right through the Census Bureau's website. And I think that's sort of, that's kind of a nice thing to know, So I'm actually going to click on back, and I will go back here because there was another survey that you talked about. Okay, so let me get back here, and I'm back sort of to square one, and we have these surveys up here. But this is just a tasting, right, of some of the main surveys. But that other one was a time use survey, and I don't see it here. So in that case, what we do is we go over here to all surveys and programs and click on that, and it gives us pages and pages of things that we...
And if we could scroll through that, David, just a little bit slowly so people can get a sense of the types. They're not going to get a complete sense of all of the surveys, but they can see we have seven pages listed of surveys that we conduct, that we collect the data for, like that.
Yeah, and and very heavily weighted, right, up in the A's, because so many things start with the word American or annual, right? Right. So, but what was the one we were looking for? The American
Time Use Survey. The time use. Right, Pat. Right, Pat.
Did I miss it?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. So keep scrolling up.
Okay, there it is. Nothing like working with somebody who can't read the alphabet, right?
Right.
Okay, so here we are, the American Time Use Survey. And then I found this one. This is really interesting to me because I didn't know until you told me about this that we had this. So here it is, Bureau. Well, we give you a little bit of information about this on our website, right? And then you can click on the link, and it will take you to the Bureau of Labor Statistics again, right? And then you can come down here, and you can look over anything you want to look at. I think you had a table that you had me look at, right?
Right, and that was the scroll back up. Scroll back up. Okay. That into it. I know you scrolled up too high.
Right, okay.
Yeah, there goes. 2017 to 2018, 16% of the U.S. population.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then if we click on this, we get like a something we can read through, or we can come to the PDF, which I prefer, and they've sort of written it all up nice and neatly for you, 20 pages, mind you, but you can actually go through there and find the statistics that you need. So I find that kind of nice, something kind of nice you can print out. Anna Maria, I noticed something about this that I really like too, is they put their phone number and their email address up at the top so that if you felt you needed to contact them directly, you could do that as well.
Right. Yeah, and they produce these types of reports for most of the data that has been collected. And one can see the myriad of data. When we go back to their site, we can demonstrate the data topics that are there.
Yeah. I would say, Maria, I got very intrigued because over here I was looking at some of these on the very right, average hours per day, and I really started looking at this thing about the household activities and the eating, drinking, and the household activities and what percentage of the day you end up, cleaning up the dishes and things like that. And that sort of blew my mind. I didn't know that we got that granular with things. But so that's a very interesting thing. Yeah.
And they do it, that time for males as well as for females. So, there's a comparison going on there.
Oh, okay. So, all right. Well, I think we won't go there today, though.
No. We're not going to go there. But I just wanted them to see that the data can be quite granular.
Yeah. And so I think the other thing we wanted to show while we're right here, maybe, is so we do have these surveys, and they're all a myriad, different things. But is the American Community Survey, and that is actually our own survey. It's an extension of the 10-year census. This used to be part of the 10-year census, but now it is something that is ongoing all the time, right? It's like a movie where we're always out there filming what's going on, and we're asking 72 questions. And you can actually come here and you can see what the questionnaires look like. You can see, are they the same questions every year, that sort of thing, what the methodology is. I do go to a lot of sociology classes at universities to show them what we do, and they're always interested in the wording of the questions. But for today, we're talking about data, right? And so the data is over here on the left. There's a little button there. And so we have sort of 3 different ways that we can look up data. And one of them is this narrative profile. And so if anybody wants to maybe put in a county where they live, if they want to write it in the chat, or maybe a zip code, I need to know the state, we'll look up 1 or 2 of those. Now, somebody already was in the chat and gave me a zip code to look up.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I'm actually going to use that, and that zip code is over here. So here it is right there. And you need to actually indicate the state, right? And so you come down here, and I know it's in New York State. And he said the zip code was 11788. And so we're going to come down here. So notice that it's by the whole state. New York has a lot of zip codes. Okay, 11788. Let me go down a little bit further. And okay, there it is. And so then you hit Get Narrative Profile, and it starts churning away, and it starts pulling in the latest 5-year data. And now we do need to explain what 5-year data is, right? And that is collected the data over 5 years, I guess, a sample over 5 years. And then after the 5th year, we release it to the public. But this is what it looks like, right? And so as we go through, and I won't go too fast because I know I make people dizzy by going too quickly through this, but we have types of households. And this is really great, right, for people who are trying to get grants. I think they need the pros written out, if that's the correct word, where people are born. And then you have these little bar graphs right here. And if you need a little bit more information over here on the right, you can click on that. It will open it for you if you prefer to see it in that fashion. And you can continue to scroll down, right? And you get more and more information. You don't have total control over this. The mechanism brings everything up for you. But it's really good. If you're in a hurry, you can do it this way. Now, Anna Marie, you had told me you knew somebody who printed these out, I think.
Oh, yeah, and then I'm going to pick out, we have got some interest. People want to know what's happening in their zip code. So I'm going to choose 2 of those. But first, people who work in government offices and get questions from their constituents have reported to me that they've used these narrative profiles, then downloaded them, copied them, and kept them in a binder so that they could immediately have access to some data that is relevant to their particular, zip code or county. So they're useful in that way as well,
So you said you have another zip code for me.
I've got a couple, but I'm only going to choose, let's see, Shoshone County in Idaho.
Oh,
And
that sounds really interesting. Okay,
right.
Idaho.
And it's 83837.
83837. Okay, down here at the bottom, I think 838. Keep going. 838. Hope it's
I know.
there. Wow. 83. Almost. We're almost there.
Almost.
Everybody,
There it goes.
cheer me on.
There it goes.
Okay, we're going to say get the narrative profile, right? Now, Anna Maria, I did notice, I do notice that when this comes up, it doesn't really tell you, all it does is give you the zip code, right? It doesn't tell you what the name of the place is or anything like that. So that is something people need to keep in mind. But here we have the number of households that are there, 1,294, right? And that's from our sample. And then it gives you the little bit of the graph, how many people are married, cohabitating, males, no spouse, and then it goes on. Nativity, so kind of how many people are foreign, and this is of the foreign born, by the way. So 99.4 were U.S. natives, but I think it's saying this is the amount of residents who are foreign born. It's only 0.6. But of them, this is the percentage, how it's broken out. So people need to, you need to read it a little bit too. Don't just go blindly just by the graph. Read the prose a little bit. The education, and I know I'm scrolling fast, disability, a little bit of information there, industries, if you needed to know what people are doing there. So that's kind of interesting if you have businesses, occupations that people work in, commuting to work, right? How many people commute this way? We live near New York City, so this is a high number by car and truck. A lot of people use public transit here. Income. I'm trying to get down to the very bottom because it gets everybody, sorry for this wild ride here. I'll just scroll down to the bottom. So that's where we get the little bit of information about internet, right? That's kind of a new thing. What kind of internet do people have? And I know that some library groups like this information because they're trying to figure out how many, is that right? How many computers they have to buy to put in their libraries for people to get access. So I think that this is kind of a hot topic sometimes.
We have another. This is great. I'm going to choose one more zip code, but before that, we have a question here that's asking us: can you select more than one zip code at a time?
No.
No. Okay.
No, not with the narrative profile. I'm sorry. That's interesting. Yeah. However, I did not show this. We said printing, but you can actually come up here to the very top where the URL is. You can highlight that, right click, right, and you can copy that and you can paste it somewhere. So let's say you paste that into your email, right, and then you come back to this. You change your geography and find another zip code. And then you can copy that URL and paste that back into whatever the document was you had. And when you click on each one, right, whether it's tomorrow or 2 weeks from now or 2 months from now, it will open this narrative profile for you. So that is kind of a way that you can compare them, but it's not like a direct way as maybe somebody was thinking.
You can do multiple selections in other tools, but not here for narrative profiles on the American Community Survey. So I'm going to choose another one. Let's see. Charleston, South Carolina, Mount Pleasant, 29466.
Okay, let's see what happens here. So we have, we're going to go here. Okay, and we said that's South Carolina?
Right. Okay,
and notice it gives me every zip code in the state. So what was that again?
29466.
Okay. Almost there. Everybody cheer me on, please. 29466, get narrative profile. And so this is, we start to find our way there. It's coming. It takes about, I think, 20 seconds, right, for it to load. Yeah, it's still loading a little bit. It's pulling from everywhere to bring you all this data. And so here we have the type, households there and the types of households that are there. Marital status, once again, nativity, so we're seeing that here it is, 95.8% of people living there were U.S. natives, right?
Right.
And then whatever's left over, the 4.2, this is how that's broken out, right?
Right.
Foreign-born population. That doesn't mean that they're not American citizens now, though. Language, geographic mobility, that's kind of an interesting thing. I don't know if you knew that we asked that, where people lived the prior year, and so 86% of the people did, but the rest of the population lived somewhere else, a different county or a different state.
Yeah, well, what that 86% indicates is it's the stability in a community, right? If it was the other way around, you'd be saying, wow, 86% are moving out and about, and only whatever the difference is, 14% are staying. So you can determine that.
Yeah, education, disability, industries, again, occupation, commuting to work. I'm scrolling fast on income. Let's just look at that income really quick. So actually I'd say that's relatively wealthy, that percentage there. So median income right here. So that's not bad, right? So all this information is there. And Anna Maria?
There's one more question that, someone has asked here. And it's actually about a comparison question. And they ask, how does the ACS survey data, which we're looking at right now through the lens of the narrative profiles, get interpreted along with the new 10-year census data? Well, they're not exact comparisons. On the American Community Survey data, you're going to get a real deep dive into community data that, like transportation, like age, which you're going to get in your decennial census responses, but you're not going to get in your decennial census responses what they, where they work, how they commute, what their educational attainment level is. So we're going to give you on the American Community Survey data much more data about the population and the housing units and all, which is not going to be available on the census level data that's going to be released soon. So there you're going to be able to see, the total number, and that's an actual number as distinguished from the ACS, which is an estimate, right? So if you're looking for actual numbers, you'll have to wait till the data's released for the 2020 census, but they're not equal in the data that's released. So there is very little, if any, comparison that one does. But the ACS data is also very recent data and recognized as a legitimate source of information. So I would encourage you when the decennial census doesn't provide that data, then you definitely want to rely on the American Community Survey data.
Right, and the ACS actually is pegged to the 10-year census. Right after we take the 10-year census, that's like the base year, and then they start, deriving their statistics with using that base number. Anna Maria, did anybody give you a county by any chance instead of a zip code?
I don't see any counties.
I know we had that Shoshone County, right? I think that was there. Let me go. I just want to show the data profile part over here. So if I come here, the data profile is slightly different. You can't get zip code information through this mechanism. You can certainly get it a different way, but you can get places and states and counties. And so I'll just show you what happens if we come down here, and I think that was in Idaho, as I recall, and it was called Shoshone County. Let's make sure it's there.
If not, I found one from California. Okay, you found it. Okay, great.
Okay, we can still look at that other one.
Sure.
So this one, when you go this method and you say get data profile, it then offers you three different profile characteristics that we have, and these are like the Walmart of tables. So when I click on one of these, it is going to go into what we call data.census.gov, which is our portal to deliver all sorts of data, right? And not just ACS, but all sorts of things. So if I just, for example, clicked on social characteristics, it will suddenly open Shoshone County in this mechanism for us. Okay, and here is the table right here. And once again, you can come up to the top and you can click on the URL and copy and paste it and save it for yourself. Or you can open the table and you click up here in the upper right, customize table, and it opens this table for you. And you can download the table, you can bring it into Excel if you want to, but now suddenly we have this these estimates that have a lot of integrity, I'll say. And so you can go through and you can really look at these numbers and analyze these numbers if you want to, you want to do that. So that is a way to go in here and define this really deep data that's there. Now we do like to print or to publish rather the margins of error, and we put that in there as sort of as a little warning to you that if something doesn't look right to you, take a look at the margins of error and ask yourself, does it look appropriate or not appropriate? And those margins of error occur when people don't answer all the questions sometimes. So, but this
yes,
yeah, go ahead.
So when people are using these estimates, rather than saying in this one, speaking English less than, that we don't say 3,290 persons speak English less than very well. You can actually include the margin of error, the plus and the minus, and say it's estimated that the amount of people who don't speak English is between here and here. So that's a true statement, rather than indicating that the 3,290 people is an actual number.
Yeah, and actually, Anna Maria, I'm a big fan of the percentages. I know there are numbers here, but I'd like to say, this percentage, because I don't want to say it's vague, but it has a more impact for me when I know about the percentages. So this is just another place for you to find data. This is Ancestry right here. So if you see on the left, people are telling you what their ancestry is, and then the computer and internet use as well. So this is just, like I say, a Walmart of tables. It's just like a big table, but we have all sorts of littler tables and little granular pieces of data that are in this data.census.gov. Right. I will close it. Oh, yeah,
the data.census.gov is one of the links because it is a treasure trove of data that we collect, not only from the American Community Survey, but from the Current Population Survey. So you'll be able to access a myriad of data sources that we have. And eventually you'll be able to access more and more as we continue to do uploads of data so that it's available to the public. Right.
So I'm going to go back up here to the top and continue on just a little bit. And so we have just been looking at the surveys and programs, but if we sort of move over to the left, we have some other things we wanted to show you. And these are, we have Explore Data here, and maybe before I go into it, I will just show people this Explore Data main right here is actually the entranceway to that portal where you can get those tables, the data.census.gov, where I just showed you Shoshone County. So you can actually go in this route if you wanted to, or you can simply just type in the URL data.census.gov, and it will take you to that website. The other thing we have here, Anna Maria, before I move on, is the data tools and apps. And so we've been talking about, surveys and data, and, where to find the data, but then we have all these different tools, and notice some of them are 2020 tools, right? But we do have all these different tools that we have developed to sort of make it a little bit easier for people to interpret the data, and to give them clues as to what's going on, and some of it, thinking about things a different way, like the data flows mapper. I won't show that today, but that is a favorite thing of mine. It shows how people are moving around the country, and when people are moving out of your county, where are they moving to? So, but we have all these things here, and as I scroll down, you see that at the bottom here, there are actually 3 pages of data tools that you can go to. So this is another way that you can go, looking for data.
One of the tools that I'm fascinated by is the Census Business Builder. And we have in our midst here today people who are entrepreneurs and are looking to establish businesses or find out where the best place is because they have a profile of potential clientele. You can actually use the Census Business Builder, which will give you some both economic as well as demographic data, and then you can start making choices about where you would like. It might actually inform you, oh, wow, that location is not the best location. It looks like we might want to do it over here. That kind of, so we've done a lot of the thinking about what people have been interested in, depending on what they've been asking us, and develop tools for your use. So though we're excited that you were, partners during the decennial, these are tools that you'll have because we really believe that data is for everyone. And you can see it in the number of tools available.
So I'm going to come back up here to the top, Anna Maria. I know that people are putting things in the chat, but I'll go through my what we agreed to talk about, explore data. And we have these experimental data products as well, right? And you can click on there. And so these they're in the making, we'll say, or they're rather new. And so this is where you want to go if you want to look for information about the COVID, we'll say, ramifications or whatever it's caused to society. You can come here and you come down, and there is an interactive tool, and you can actually come in here and start looking for the data that you need. And this is a household survey. There's a business one as well. And notice that we're doing it by week. So we're measuring it through weeks from, I think maybe, yes, from when it started. You can look at states or metro areas if you wanted to. And the questions or the topics are actually here on the left, right? Like, housing insecurity, let's see what happens with that. So it's sort of letting us know where people are more secure or insecure rather, because of the COVID problem and housing. So we see that Mississippi is pretty high up there. And then other things that we can look at that are over here on the left if you wanted to sort of delve into those, or you could actually change it to metro area, right? And I think I can say select all, right? And I say okay, and then it's going to change the map for me. And we can kind of compare metro areas to see what's going on. If somebody, certain things change from area to area. So that is something that you can look at. The data is here, right down here if you wanted to. There's usually a button you can find on our website to download the data. I don't know that. Oh, here it is over here. It's right here. And so you can download that data as well. I don't know if there was anything you wanted to add to that, Anna Maria, or not.
Actually, what I wanted to add, this is a pretty quick overview of the interactive COVID-19 hub. But they are going to have a data summit specifically on this tool that the participants will learn the data that's included there, how to navigate it, and it'll be conducted by, I don't know, but who actually will do it, but it'll be, for the community resilience estimates, it'll be some economists that actually speak to it. For some of the demographic data. So you can really get a sense of the tool rather than the rapid search that we're sort of doing right now.
Okay, and so I'm going to always, except when you're in the data.census.gov portal, but any other time, you can come up here to the logo census logo on the left, and click on it, and it brings you back to square one, right? And so we were still here, explore data, experimental data products, and we had looked at the Pulse survey. There is one for small business, but it is my favorite thing, I think Anna Maria's too, this thing called the post-secondary employment outcomes. And when you click on that, I think it's going to let you go on the Explorer right here. And so this opens up, and of course this is, like I tell everybody, this is interesting to me because next year my daughter is going off to college. You know, and I'm concerned, you know, I'm investing money in this, into what is going to happen. So you can actually see what happens to graduates after they get out of college, right? So you come here, now not all the states have bought into this, right? They're little by little, every year, more and more states are giving us their data. And so here we have New York State, and I'll just use that as an example. New York State has many colleges that are run by the state, but Binghamton University is one that I know. And so we have this, but if I click on the little flows button right here, it starts to show me what industries people are going into, right? And if we look on the left a little bit, let me just scroll down, look on the left and the bottom and that, but the left over here, it's telling me right here, if you can see that years post-grad filter, that's 5 years after they've graduated, what fields they're going into. Now, I'm going to go down here at the bottom, and I'm interested in foreign languages, and that's the only thing I'm interested in, because that's what my daughter has decided she wants to study, right, different foreign languages. And so 5 years out is showing me that, you know, foreign language, many people are going into educational services and believe it or not, healthcare. You know, I didn't know that until I saw this, right? But over here on the left, we can, lower left where my cursor is, I can click on Geo, and it not only tells me what they're going into, but where they are going around the country. And I can also click on here, I'm not interested in account, but more the percentage. I think I said that earlier, percentages mean more to me, right? So here we have, right, students of foreign languages that they're going into all these different industries, and this is 5 years after graduation, 75% of them stay in New York. And I think, Anna Maria, we looked at this yesterday.
Right.
And we saw that 10 years after the fact, 80% of them stayed in New York State. And so we were thinking that some people are coming back to the New York area for whatever reason. 36% of them stayed in educational services, but many are in healthcare. Social services, which is always a surprise, and then professional and scientific up here, and then all these other industries that people are in. So I find this very interesting, you know, and almost, you know, quite personal for me.
Yeah, and I'm sure that if we have people who are parents or college students on this webinar, this might be of interest to them. But we have a question here. And you're going to love this one. Can we see more on genealogy searches?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's on my list, right? So it's coming up. Okay. So let me go back up here to the top, to the logo on the left. I'll click on that. And so we did look at those experimental things, and I'm just sort of pointing out a website to you. If you were looking for anything on this website, you can certainly search. If you're over here on the left, browse by topic, you can look for these generalized topics, or you can come right over here or to this A to Z thing. You can click on that. Okay, and this is not just surveys, it is everything. Definitions, anything you need at the Census Bureau, you know, you can go through this and you can look at it and find, look at this, audio broadcast, Profile America, the Atlanta Regional Office, if you need to find information about that or get, you know, give them a call or something, you can come here. So everything is here. If you need to do that, you can also search up here, or I do like to teach people up here if you're using Google Chrome, it doesn't have to be on the Census Bureau's website. Any website, it's called a site search. You type in the URL of site, the word site, colon, and you can type in a word. Oh, and we said genealogy, right?
Yes.
And it will find it for you, right, within that, within the website. So here we have it right there, and it brings us right there, right? But I'm going to go back to the logo because I want to show people really the breadcrumbs to get there. So if I come all the way over here to the right at the top, right? And then notice right here in the middle, it says our history. And this is like I feel like this is a secret website that nobody knows about. When you get here, it has all this history about the Census Bureau, about the United States through the years and how, data changed. We have some innovations about data collection and that sort of thing. But over here, we have this little tab that says genealogy. And when you click on decennial census records, it brings you here. And we are the ones who, every decennial, we collect that information, right? And after 72 years, we release it to the National Archives. Okay, so we don't really keep it, but they take it. And then once the National Archives get that, they sort of put it into their system, and people can come right here. They can go to the National Archives, and they can start looking through the census records, and they can look for their forefathers, I'll say. It doesn't have to be 1940. It can be before that as well. But this is really the way to go. And I found that the National Archives had a pretty good system here once you go in and start looking it up. You have to know kind of where the person lived. You have to have an idea where their street was and across street, but not necessarily their address. And you can go in here and you can look and see what's going on, and you'll see handwriting like you don't see anymore when you go in there. So that is kind of a cool thing, and I do like to show people that, and that is the entrance way to the genealogy.
So we have two other questions which we won't be able to demonstrate. So I think we can answer them verbally. And then later on, participants on this webinar will learn how to request sessions either from the data dissemination branch so that webinars can be scheduled for them, and then we can answer specifically the questions that they have. But one was, is there specific information on mobility and transportation? And so the quick response is yes, there is. There's specific tables about that, as well as tables about voter registration. So we have that information as well. So I would encourage the askers of those questions, if that's something that is of interest to you, actually get onto our website and ask for a webinar specific to that. And then a data dissemination specialist will work with you on meeting the needs that you're asking about, and then tailor a presentation to that specific subject.
Yeah. One really quickly, Anna Maria, I would say though, the browse by topic, notice that over here, voting and registration, there is a page on our website. You can go right there and it has some information. Yeah.
Yeah.
The mobility one, I think, is under the ACS.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So, we're coming upon that hour, David,
Okay. So I'm going to turn over the website, I think, back to, Nesreen.
Yeah, but before you do that, I just want to sort of have my impressions. After all of these years, I still get excited about the data that we produce at the Census Bureau or that we collect, I'm always fascinated by these little data nuggets, and so this data summit started with that data is for everyone. And I hope that we demonstrated to you that, there are nuggets of data that touch either ourselves personally, someone that we know, or impact our communities. So yeah, you can come to our website and learn so much more for yourself about data. So we meant it when we said data for everyone.
Yep. So, okay, I think I'll stop sharing. Oh, there you go. Okay, and Nesreen got it. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can someone give me a thumbs up or just acknowledge that you can hear me in the chat? Yes, thank you so much. I'd first like to thank you, Anna, Maria, and David, for that amazing presentation. And, of course, unfortunately, people, that concludes our Q&A portion. But continuing on what Anna Maria said, and I'm Nakia Cooper, by the way, data is for everyone. I would like to take a moment to just show you some very important resources before you go, because if you enjoyed today's summit, and I really hope you did, there is a lot more where that came from. So there is so much. If you look at this page, there is so much at your fingertips on census.gov Census Academy page. There you can find valuable information on data dissemination and training. There are options to request a free data training, much like the one you had today, for your organization, free of charge. You can't beat that. And you can also receive our data gems, which are short how-to videos aimed at helping you increase your knowledge of census data. And guess what? We can deliver those directly to your inbox. And you can also gain access to our easy learn at your own pace tutorials. Remember what David said earlier about, you can't show everything within 90 minutes, and that's the thing. Some people are fast learners. Some people get in and like, I get it. And some people, like me, say, could you go back over that? Well, since we didn't have the time to go back over that, you can request that we do. And you can do that through this page, okay? And we just really want to show you that we are really here for you. You can also interact with the instructors on the webinars. Next. So to expand a little bit more on what I just said, if you look at this, the Census Bureau has a team of specialists, just like the ones here today, who can assist in bringing the world of data to you by providing trainings, workshops, and presentations to you and your organization at, again, no cost. I'm sorry, I love free. Our team offers presentations and trainings tailored to the customer's needs. But I got to tell you, you guys are not customers. You are family, okay? And so we do that. And you can talk about the variety of the census data tools, data sets, and programs, both virtually and in person. Now I want to take a moment to show you something special. Next slide. We have several data summits that we are presenting between now and the month of August. So just like the one today, we have a whole data summit series. You can find all that information on the Census Academy page on census.gov. Now, if you look up at the blue navigation bar, in that bar at the top, you click webinars, then you select the drop-down list to upcoming webinars, and then find which one suits your needs and then register. It is really a one-stop shop. And a week or two after the summits, you can go back to that same link for webinars, drop down, and you'll see recorded webinars option under the navigation bar. And there we will have these recordings of these summits, so you can go back and look at them, be right there on that page. Now, next slide. Have to tell you this. Even though we think that we are all that and a bag of chips, we want to know your thoughts, because there is always room for improvement, and that's what we're all about. We want to know, did we service your needs today? And if we didn't, how can we do better? So there are 3 ways to tell us what you think about this today's session. First, be on the lookout. CPEP, that's us, will be sending you a post-summit email with a general question. Please take the time to reply to that immediately. Then you may also contact your regional office via phone or email. And, of course, as you have been doing during the decennial count, Connect with your local partnership specialist for any of your needs and or thoughts, and they will share that with us. So you can contact your regions, your partnership, and I want to show you the next couple of slides. You take a moment to look at your regional offices and take down some of that information. Here on this one, we can take a moment to look at the Atlanta Regional Office, the Chicago Regional Office, and look at that. It's atlanta.regional.office@census.gov. For Chicago, you can contact chicago.regional.office@census.gov. Continuing on. Denver, the Denver-Dallas region as we refer to it, denver.regional.office@census.gov. Los Angeles, same thing, los.angeles.regional.office@census.gov. And all of these you can punch in, go to census.gov, punch in regional offices, look it up in the search bar, and you can find out what you need. This is a shot just from that page. Go to the next one, please. Rounding it off, New York, so new.york.regional.office@census.gov, and Philadelphia.regional.office@census.gov. I said it slowly just so you all had some time to look at it and just jot down what you need to jot down, just to make sure that you connect with us, we stay connected with you, and we can arm you with whatever you need. That is it for me. I would like to turn this back over to Lynette, and I'm just telling you all, thank you so much for being engaged with us today. Lynette? And we can't hear you. Well, thank you, people, for some hand claps I see over there.
Oh, I'm back in the saddle. Thank you so much.
All right, Lynette.
Thank you so much, Nikki. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining us today for our inaugural Data Summit, Census Bureau Data for Everyone and Why It Should Matter to You. I would like to thank Ms. Dale Kelly and Census Leadership, Dr. Seema Iyer, our key presenters, Ana Maria Garcia and David Craker, and Nakia Cooper from our staff. Our objectives for this summit was to increase awareness of the vast data products available through the U.S. Census Bureau, to be better equipped to utilize some of the free online tools available on census.gov, have resources and toolkits to assist with navigating data available all through census.gov. Ladies and gentlemen, we encourage you to provide feedback. We want you to tell us if you thought something was missing, or if there was something that you would like to hear, a topic that you would like to hear more of, or something less of. And we really appreciate your feedback so we can improve these sessions. We want you to leave this webinar with the inspiration to spread the word that data are for everyone, not just for the statisticians or educators, but for all walks of life. Thank you for joining us today, and expect that PDF of this presentation and a link for today's presentation in 48 hours. This concludes today's seminar. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful afternoon.